r/ask Reddit. What conspiracy theories actually make sense and could be true? Over the years, I've become more and more convinced that the 1962 Alcatraz escapees survived. I think it was very plausible. I've swum from Alcatraz Island across the bay dozens of times in open water events in many different weather and current conditions. I've swum the entire distance around the island, and the distance under the span of the Golden Gate. The water in June, when they escaped, is not that cold, and the currents are actually helpful if used to one's advantage. Alcatraz is not as far out as it appears from shore either. I can do it in 35 minutes and I'm not any kind of champion swimmer, just someone who likes to swim open water. I do recognize these guys were not swimmers at all, but they had a raft, and with steady progress and a go with the current mentality, they could have easily made the shore. Not to mention I don't want to go back to prison mentality. Whenever you unsubscribe from an unsolicited email, you are actually subscribing to a different unsolicited email. Temporary emails, for when you have to sign up to some sketch. I have a work email, a personal one, and then one that's used for signing up to random shit. I just have it muted. Chapstick companies put something in the chapstick that makes your lips more dry. Edit. Apparently this is true. Yay, edit too. Apparently this applies to skin creams and stuff too. A while back someone told me to just stop using it and make sure I was drinking enough water. I did this and had chapped lips for a week or two, but then they went away and I'm now going on year 4 or 5 without chapstick. I've only had a problem once and I was out skiing for about 6 hours straight with no gaiter to cover my face. I drink tons of water and still get chapped lips in the winter. Whether or not my lips are chapped never really crosses my mind, though, so I just don't worry about it. My favorite one is that the Kardashian sisters keep their brother chubby so they can use his fat for their injections. That's ducking gross. I love it. There is a brother? A lot of the more stupid conspiracy theories were made up in order to make conspiracy theories in general be expected to not have any logic. This way, a true one might be ignored. I will never outright dismiss a conspiracy theory. I mean, unless it's completely absurd. Like Barack Obama being a lizard person, simply because MK Ultra was an actual thing that happened. Barack Obama being a lizard person, that is insane. Zuckerberg on the other hand. The 10-year challenge on Facebook in 2019, which encouraged FB users to upload pictures from 2009 and a current one from 2019, was actually a front by programmers to gain data and examples to train facial recognition and age progression software. I know I'm going to get hella down thumbs for this, but all the masking over the last 2 years has drastically increased their ability to detect who you are with your face covered. All the Olympic athletes' faces were fully covered when they went through a check-in using self-check-in cameras, and it knew exactly who each person was. That's actually a really good point. If they could learn to profile your eyes only, which is one of the few parts of your face that rarely changes, it would all work in the software's favor. Pete Davidson is making his way through the celebrities to bring down the Illuminati and find out who really caused 9/11 and avenge his father's death. I would watch the duck out of that movie. Delete. This information is not meant to be heard by the lower folks. I don't think he's been convicted, so I suppose this counts as a conspiracy even though the evidence is overwhelming. Dan Schneider is a pedophile who preyed on various Nickelodeon child actors, actresses, and groomed and preyed on Amanda Bynes. On a similar note, Drake Bell was the poor child actor who was brutally raped by Brian Peck. See conviction info about a victim named as John Doe by the courts here, who was another Nickelodeon worker collaborating with Dan Schneider on his shows as a dialogue coach. I honestly wouldn't be surprised by how much Drake Bell went downhill. He was even convicted of a sex crime as well not too long ago. Hurt people hurt people. That women have no pockets or little pockets to buy purses. If you compliment the dress a woman is wearing, you will always find out if it has pockets. And if it was on sale. I'll give you one that definitely is real. The US government, with the assistance of several other countries around the world, secretly stole body parts from infants, from university samples, stillbirths, and some on the record allusions to bodies pulled from indigent burials. so they could test the bones for radiation to determine the effects of nuclear bomb detonation, to determine the impact and if there was any safe amount of nuclear explosion. It's called Project Sunshine. Oh god, it actually is confirmed, you weren't just saying that. Yep, it's even the subject of congressional hearings in the US. Totally confirmed, and even some of the minutes from their meetings have been declassified and made available online. There are a shit ton of fake bot troll accounts on social media stirring the pot to keep us fighting each other. Reddit. Since it sounds like a lot of people feel the same, I would remind you to check profiles on social media before engaging shit talkers. If an account has been on for 3 years and has 12 karma, they are probably a bot. Or if they follow 8 people on Twitter and their account is 6 years old. We can't catch all of the entrenched bots, but maybe we can at least make it difficult for them to make new ones. Edit to the edit. After seeing subs that are all bots conversing with each other, I think we lost folks. These computers took over, burned down the internet, and let's start over. This has been proven for years. Back after Trump was elected, some dude ran the data he had collected for an entire year, and it was all done by a ring of like 500 accounts. And accounts linked to those accounts. This is on every goddamn social media network. The entire goal is to destroy public social cohesion, which destroys any sort of organizational effort by the people to effect change. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is true. Be skeptical of everything you see or hear on any media. Reddit in particular is full of bots. And there are plenty of trolls mixed in to cause problems as well. Many posts on Reddit are fake or misleading. If a post triggers negative emotion, consider the source, and don't let this site get to you. I'm worried about how influential this site is now. How many people are here, how young the users are, and how often users can't spot clearly fake content. Again, be skeptical of everything. A huge part of, if not the primary function of, the sales that take place in the fine art scene occur as a way for various entities to launder dirty money. Fine art is mostly to secure money. You can tax a $3 million painting that is hanging in your hallway. But if you have the money in stocks or on your bank account, you pay taxes. Art usually doesn't decrease in value. It is either steady or increasing in price. Open bracket. And no, your random generated monkeys are not comparable to a Monet or Picasso. The FBI assassinated MLK. They have been being sued and Freedom of Information requests have been filed by his family. The FBI has responded that any records pertaining to MLK death they have would be a threat to national security if released. The FBI has already been forced to release documents pertaining to attempt on MLK life and attempts to plant evidence that could be used to send him to jail, as well as extensive blackmail attempt. They tried to kill him before. It makes sense that if they did, they would fight tooth and nail to keep it secret. There was 100% a conspiracy to kill Martin Luther King Jr. This is true, but it's the FBI, not sire. That Bigfoot Sasquatch actually exists, but he's actually some dude's early persona in the 60s and he won't come out publicly cause of shame. Bigfoot is just a furry. This is my favorite one so far. There almost certainly are pedophile rings consisting of very rich people who do have their own collection of enablers orbiting them. However, they almost certainly do not communicate via secret code words or hand signals posted on social media or sent via email. Nor do they all belong to one political party or affiliation. There are not secret tunnels underneath pizza places. There are not frequent murders of children where all forensic evidence is destroyed. And this stuff does not happen in rural or suburban communities via daycare centers. I think the whole Epstein thing essentially proved this. Like, it's not even a theory anymore. The only theory is how deep it goes. And that he definitely didn't duck and kill himself. I lost my oldest friend to canon. I can't stand conspiracy theorists now, but I still definitely believe he was murdered. Disney made the movie Frozen so that when people searched for Disney Plus Frozen, something other than the disposition of Walt's head came up in the search results. Don't forget about Disney on Ice. LOL, after reading this, that name really jumped out. That there actually might not be any gold in Fort Knox. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't add up about it. And I've been there in my time in the army and it was boring as shit with a pretty relaxed security as compared to other installations I've been on. When this conspiracy was hitting its peak in 2017, Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin took a $27,000 military aircraft trip there. There are pictures of him in a weird chalkboard-lined room with several stacks of what appear to be gold bars behind him. But oddly enough, these pictures are in a grainy black and white, so you can't actually confirm what he's holding. Before this trip, the last known outside audit of Fort Knox was in 1953. It's the only conspiracy I can get behind. All the gold in California is in a bank in the middle of Beverly Hills in somebody else's name. It's probably in the mountains where they say they store nuclear waste, or it's all lining the motherboards of the world's phones and computers. Every phone software update slows your phone down more over time, so you're more inclined to get a new one. Edit. Literally just finished an iOS update, lol. This one is actually true. Apple was the subject of a lawsuit a few years ago about this, and they reached a settlement. But now they are back to doing it again because they make more in profits than they have to pay out. Edit. Source https://www.npr. Org the 18th of November 2020 20/396,268,845 Apple agrees to pay $113 million to settle Biteragate case over iPhone slowdowns. Samsung did too, I think. Something about their batteries discharging faster after updates, I think it was. Edit. After looking it up, Samsung got fined for the same thing Apple did, deliberately showing down their phones after an update. However, I've noticed several times around the time a new phone comes out, my older phone suddenly drains about 25% faster than it preciously did. https://www.google.com amp Guardian.com technology/2018/oct/24/Apple Samsung fined for slowing down phones. The US government and media divide the nation on purpose so that fingers are pointing to the other side instead of the source of the problems. Keep us fighting the culture war so we don't start fighting the class war. Some JFK assassination theories are not completely absurd. Why did Ruby bring his dog with him to the police station? Wait, there's a dog? Makes me want to watch more about these theories. Sounds interesting now. Antivirus software creators have the motive to be the creators of most viruses. Bo Burnham has an old song from 2009 called Lovies. One of his verses pretty much sums this up. And love is being the owner of the company that makes rape whistles. And even though you started the company with good intentions trying to reduce the rate of rape, now you don't want to reduce it at all, cause if the rape rate declines then you'll see an equal decline in whistle sales. Without rapists, who's gonna buy your whistles? Sort of like identity theft protectors. It's like, why would I input all my info into a bulk storage of info that can be hacked into if someone wanted a lot of people's info? PETA is ran by the meat industry to delegitimize meat reduction and animal rights. PETA is the Westboro Baptist of animal rights organizations. PETA is wild. They run a shelter, and their kill rate is between 85-95% annually. They have to give a few of the animals away to still be considered a shelter, but they only let the bare minimum of animals go. Their reasoning behind this is that animals shouldn't be pets, so death is better for them than letting them go to a loving family to be spoiled. Honestly, if Hitler shaved his mustache, I wouldn't be able to pick him out of a lineup. Yep, he needed only to shave and get a wig. The Vatican is hiding stuff. Old scrolls, forgotten books, all sorts of stuff. I really don't think this is a conspiracy theory. If you want to have a look at a book, scroll, whatever from the Vatican archive, you need to request that book. The kicker is they don't publish a list of their inventory, so you need to know what isn't there. They won't even tell if a book is there or not, or they don't want you to see it. To be fair, some libraries work something like that. I study archaeology and had some classes on Christian art history archaeology. Also, there is like a ton of conflicting religious texts out there. It was only when the Eastern Roman emperors, Constantine, Justinian or Valentinian especially, had their councils that the whole Christian thing was streamlined. There were different Christian communities all around the Mediterranean at first, and they often incorporated local legends and content from other religions. Later on, when 300 400. Christianity got a little more prominent. They even had disagreements to the point where Constantine and later emperors had to step in. Just have a look at the apocryph writings known today, so you can kind of extrapolate what was around back in the day. Large corporations want to keep universal healthcare away in the US. That burden is on employers who subsidize employee premium. They keep the expense on smaller to medium businesses to prevent them from growing quickly and being a direct competitor. Large corp will see them coming and buy them out first. Another explanation is simply that it means employees feel trapped and can't leave or they'll lose health insurance, meaning they'll put up with more bullshit and crap pay. That this thread gets redone probably monthly, maybe weekly, and is used as a way to gauge people's thoughts and misdirect from actual conspiracies. Did I get here in time to say this? Maybe the real conspiracy was the friends we made along the way. Front-facing cameras are already tracking your eye movements to see what catches your attention, so it can better advertise to you. Also, has anybody watched Kingsman? The Secret Service? Those AirPods we all use are equal to the SIM cards. Now I have to tape over my camera. My favorite JFK theory, the hat making industry of Danbury, Connecticut was behind it. He wasn't the first president to not wear a hat, but as we all know he and his wife were very much in the public eye and fashionable. People saw him not wearing a hat and the trend took off and hurt the hat industry, which was a big industry in Danbury. Old NES games like Simon's Quest were made cryptic and confusing on purpose as a means to sell more Nintendo power. Simon's Quest is so hard because of the translation. They lost a lot. Like there's a whole part where they tell you how to get in the final castle. Totally left out in the American version. Epstein didn't kill himself. Same with his friend last week. Due to their track record, I believe almost all theories involving the CIA. Oh, but they would never do that. Yes, they would, and they probably already did. Edit. Oh boy, I hope I don't get awarded with the CIA Award for Excellence in Journalism. Was talking to a friend about another common friend who is a flat earther, and we were comparing all the conspiracy theories he has told us individually. Then I brought up the JFK assassination and he said, wait, now that one is real. Are flat earthers actually genuine in their opinion or just trolling? I've only met one person who had called themselves a flat earther before. He literally fished for proof on YouTube and Google. Major confirmation bias. I asked him if he thought scientists were wrong about the earth being round and he believed that that was the conspiracy. The fact the earth is truly flat and they are trying to hide the truth from us. I told him his logic is flawed. He told me to duck off. It began as a joke. Inevitably idiots with nothing in their lives to be proud of latched onto it for a sense of identity, that they know something that no one else does. And here we are. The two-party system in the US is not really a democracy, and is used to divide and conquer the public. Your phone is listening to you. The NSA got caught doing exactly that, and they criminalized the whistleblower. You think they stopped now that he's gone? That's not a theory, that's a fact. Mattress stores are a front for something illegal shady. Surprisingly, mattress stores are actually a terrible front for money laundering. They tend to do so well, and open up in so many locations, because they have huge profit margins coupled with really low overhead. Most mattress stores only need 1-2 employees to operate, and don't need to change displays or stock frequently. They also charge substantial markups on their mattresses, which don't cost nearly as much when purchased wholesale. As a result, even if they only sell a mattress or 2 a day, they'll still usually turn a profit. Conversely, money laundering tends to work well in business that can have small, constant transactions in cash, without looking suspicious. This is why restaurants are used as fronts so frequently. It's easy to sneak an extra $1,000 of dirty cash through a business that's already taking thousands of dollars of cash payment normally. This would be extremely hard to do with a mattress store, where a high volume of cash transactions would stand out like a sore thumb. Moreover, the comparatively low number of transactions at a mattress store would make it far easier to investigate each payment for misconduct, whereas the sheer volume of cash transactions at somewhere like a restaurant makes it very hard to comb through every time cash is exchanged. Edit. Typos. This guy has laundered money before. Companies make light bulbs in a way that makes them last way less than they could. to sell more light bulbs. Yup, BC, there's one that has been left on for about 100 years and it's never been replaced. Edit to say it's in a firehouse in Pennsylvania, I think. The FBI killed MLK. The FBI wanted MLK dead for a long time, under COINTELPRO, which is another ducked up conspiracy worth looking into. They sent MLK a suicide note saying that he should kill himself or they would uncover how he cheated on his wife, so it's plausible that they did kill him. North Korea hasn't been properly Kim controlled since Kim Il-sung, who died in 1994. Since then it's been a military junta and the Kims are kept on somewhat of a leash, for continuity and to give the pleb something to rally around and focus on. Fear keeps them in line and it's all theater that gives them a sense of purpose so they don't ask too many questions. Kim Jong-il even said to a foreign visitor that it was all fake and his people hated him. The elites are effectively held to ransom in a life of obscene luxury and there is a lot of paranoia, jockeying and rival factions. High-ranking defectors and various diplomats have actually hinted at this. It's also well known that the top military ranks know their situation is a joke and that they would get squashed by anyone they went to war with. It's just yet another way of rallying the population around a cause and keeping them on their toes. South Korea and the CIA have also said they cannot be 100% sure exactly what's going on and how the system really works. There have also been leaks that suggest the well-informed North Korean diplomatic class are privately not happy with one Kim after another and feel that something has to give. For what it's worth, I don't see North Korea surviving in its current form for another 25 years. The situation there now appears to be truly desperate and the worst that's been seen in years. The Great Cheese Conspiracy. Blocks of cheese are packaged in a type of plastic that is designed to tear like paper. This assures that once you open the package, your cheese will dry out or get moldy quickly and you'll need to buy more. There is a cheese conspiracy, but it has nothing to do with the packaging. It involves 1.4 billion lbs of cheese stored in caves in Missouri. Duck Area 51 raid. Time for Missouri Cheese Cave raid. That NASA has cockpit recordings of the last moments of Challenger and Columbia, but won't release them out of respect for the families. They absolutely do, and not releasing them is the sensitive thing to do. There are way more mattress stores than the human race could ever need just sitting around. Mattresses are easy for money laundering. It's a product with a very high margin. So you could buy dirt cheap mattresses, fake the buying invoice as if they're moderately expensive, and sell for big bucks, while all you do is just shifting some old mattresses around in a warehouse. Snoop Dogg works for the federal government as an informer. This was started by Suge Knight, but still, Snoop has had some offenses that would lock most people up for a long time, but he has always got off. He's had multiple drug and gun charges on top of attempted murder. Dude is everywhere and has been for multiple decades now. We are being distracted with culture wars in order to keep us from waging class wars. Lately I am becoming more and more convinced that some of these Mandela moments are real. I see some of the things they post and I remember those things differently than they are today. I absolutely promise you that Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia on the logo in the 90s. That is exactly how I remember it. That was a great universe. I miss it. The hate for Nickelback stemmed from a social experiment as the internet as we know it today was coming to fruition in the mid to late 2000s by people who wanted to test the capabilities of the internet as we know it today. That local restaurant that nobody goes to and has been open forever is a money laundering front. Hot dog and hot dog buns manufacturers work together. It doesn't add up. Just heard a new one that's hilarious. The Loch Ness Monster is just the ghost of a dinosaur. Like a brontosaurus walking through a valley that's now a lake for us. Edit not Loch Mayo. I heard one once that America is a corporation. For any neoliberal capitalist country, my country included, it is essentially true. The BBC spends more time talking about GDP than it does about how happy, creative or safe anyone is. We are basically employees and the ruling class are our bosses. School is just one long orientation day and after that, productivity is seen as our only way to justify our existence. That's not a conspiracy. That's just you paying attention. Death of Michael Jackson may not be what it seems. His father kept him on drugs that had him chemically castrated from before he hit puberty to keep his voice as high as it was. His lack of a childhood made him obsessed with his idealized concept of boyhood, which he tried to get as close to as possible, living through other little boys. None of his kids are biologically his. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.